Welcome back. In this segment, I want to talk about other sources of carbon monoxide in a home, and this is going to be your fireplace and water heater. The fireplace, of course, I'd mentioned that earlier, that the fireplace can have so many potential ways that carbon monoxide can get back into the home. One of my best stories is I walked into what at the time was a brand new model home. They were still finishing it up, and my clients, the buyers, were very excited about it. Walked into the front door, and the first thing I noticed is kitty corner. On the other corner of the living room, we had this freestanding gas fireplace. And I looked at that and I said, where's the flue? And you still had a contractor there, and he said, oh, this is ventless. And I thought, okay, that's interesting, no flue. And so I pulled out my carbon monoxide meter, which I have in my home inspection tool belt, and I tested that thing, and it immediately created about a 100 part per million flow. And something I would have you be aware of is this flow, again, because carbon monoxide is heavier than air. You can have a flow of, say, 10 parts per million, and that flow of 10 can actually fill up the house to the point where you've got a carbon monoxide reading through the house of a much bigger number, 50 or 100 or 200 or whatever the number may be. And it's the same concept as actually filling a swimming pool with a garden hose. It takes a while, but you can fill that entire pool with the garden hose. And that is exactly the same kind of concept that is happening here. So that would have been a 100 part per million flow, which could quickly turn into deadly conditions for the family that bought this. I felt like I might have saved those guys' lives, and that sort of scenario has happened at other inspections as well, where you have poor combustion and maybe it doesn't get into the flue, maybe the flue is blocked, maybe the damper's closed and the fireplace is on. I have a number of other stories too. I've actually seen freestanding wood-burning fireplaces where they forgot to hook it up to a chimney. It didn't just happen once, it's happened a couple of times. So these are the kind of things, again, you want to make sure your home inspector sees, and if that inspector doesn't see it, it kind of becomes your duty to keep your family alive and let them know that we might have a problem there. Okay, water heaters. I mentioned that we have this little girl's apartment, college girls, and they didn't know why they were having the headache and nausea. I was grateful at the time that I'd been called into that particular unit. I think that one turned into something where the entire apartment complex had to be renovated so that that potentially deadly condition in that one girl's apartment was eliminated, not only there, but wherever it applied in other apartments. The reading at these girls' apartment was 7 parts per million, and directly the 7 parts per million is not going to be deadly. You could stick your nose up there to that 7 parts per million, and if that's all it was, you might not have a deadly condition. 7 parts per million isn't bad enough because, again, to give you some comparison, EPA allows up to 50 in the work environment. But that continuous flow, which is what a water heater is going to do, is going to fill the swimming pool, if you will, and then you've got much higher readings and they can be deadly.